So it finally happened. Meghan Markle just got the cold shoulder from yet another major Hollywood studio. And this time, it's Amazon. Word is, they've completely scrapped her reality TV project. And if you think she took that quietly, you've got another thing coming. According to insiders, she absolutely lost it. I'm talking studio-level freakout, legal threats, and behind-the-scenes chaos that's still echoing through the entertainment world. This isn't just another PR hiccup, this is the kind of meltdown that could shut doors for good. Let's rewind a bit. Meghan had been trying to pivot hard into the Hollywood content space, chasing relevance after her post-royal media buzz started to fade. She was banking everything on this reality series with Amazon MGM Studios. From what people say, it was supposed to be her big comeback, her way of proving she could lead a show, control the narrative, and stay center stage. But the vibe inside Amazon's walls quickly shifted. Executives reportedly grew tired of her behavior. And it wasn't just about being difficult. She was allegedly making outrageous demands, causing friction with producers, and pushing her own vision to the point of total breakdown in communication. Eventually, the studio had enough. Even though the deal was almost done, literally just weeks away from being finalized, they pulled the plug. Meghan wasn't expecting that. She assumed her name alone would carry enough weight to make any project untouchable. When she heard the news, she didn't just express disappointment. She went full courtroom mode, threatening legal action and accusing Amazon of misogyny and discrimination. And now, she's apparently assembling a legal team to fight this, despite the fact that, legally speaking, Amazon still had the right to cancel the deal before it was officially locked. This wasn't a casual fallout either. It's the latest in a pattern of professional chaos that seems to follow Meghan wherever she goes. Remember the drama over at Netflix? Insiders there said she clashed with execs, particularly with co-CEO Greg Peters, and caused headaches throughout the production of Her with Love, Meghan series. That tension left a bad taste that hasn't gone away. And now, Amazon's execs are reportedly echoing similar frustrations. Studios are starting to connect the dots, and it's not painting a flattering picture. But here's the kicker. Rather than stepping back and reassessing her approach, Meghan's doubling down. She's now threatening to expose Amazon publicly on her upcoming podcast. Yep, she's launching another one. Apparently, this show will be her platform to call out what she believes is mistreatment by major Hollywood players. She's already investing her own money into this new podcast network, trying to use it as a last-ditch attempt to stay in the spotlight. But the early response? Not great. People are starting to tune out. Even her loyal fans are beginning to walk away. Behind closed doors, Meghan is also scrambling to keep Netflix on her side. Sources say she's practically begging the board of directors to greenlight a third season of With Love, Meghan. It's gotten to the point where she's requesting emergency meetings with execs and calling in every favor she can. But there's a problem. Netflix has already slashed a huge chunk of the budget for reshoots and marketing. That's not exactly a vote of confidence. What's wild is that even after the Amazon collapse, she's trying to pitch new concepts elsewhere. She approached Disney with a proposal for a travel series, hoping they'd bite. But reports suggest Disney isn't thrilled about the financial demands she's attaching to these projects. They're not saying no outright, but let's be real, they're not saying yes either. Meghan is clearly grasping, throwing everything she can at the wall to see what sticks. But Hollywood seems less and less interested in catching her fall. Netflix boardrooms have turned into battlegrounds lately, and Meghan Markle lies right at the center of the storm. She's been relentless, pushing for a renewal of her docuseries With Love, Meghan, even as studio confidence crumbles. Staff insiders claim she's calling into meetings uninvited, emailing execs daily, and even requesting to speak directly to the board's decision-makers, something that almost never happens at that level. She's desperate for a third season, not just for exposure, but because she sees it as her last foothold in mainstream entertainment. But the numbers aren't lying. Ratings for the previous episodes were a mixed bag at best. Internally, Netflix has already scaled down the budget significantly. They pulled back millions that were originally set aside for marketing and reshoots. Word is, they're not convinced the show has legs anymore. Audience feedback has been brutal. Critics described the last installment as overproduced and underwhelming, while social media commentary labeled it a vanity project wrapped in fake vulnerability. That's a hard sell when you're asking for another round of funding. To complicate things further, there's major division within Netflix itself. Some board members are rumored to be longtime Meghan supporters. They see her as a brand worth protecting, a symbol of modern royalty mixed with progressive ideals. But others are fed up. They've been vocal about the chaos, the ego, and the endless PR nightmares tied to her. For them, Meghan represents a liability, not an asset. And with stockholders beginning to ask questions about direction and vision, the tolerance for drama is wearing thin. Meanwhile, Meghan's team is operating in overdrive. She's hired new PR reps, shuffled assistants, and brought in crisis managers. Her strategy now is all about narrative control. That's where the podcast comes in. Sources say the first few episodes will focus heavily on her struggles in Hollywood, complete with claims of mistreatment and thinly veiled shots at Amazon, Netflix, and even Disney. She's painting herself as a victim of powerful systems, someone who's been pushed out not because of performance, but because she didn't play the game. There's also talk that she's exploring self-funded ventures. Apparently, she's floated the idea of bankrolling her own reality TV show and launching it directly on platforms like YouTube or a subscription-based app. The idea is to own the narrative completely, with no interference from traditional networks. But that plan has already raised eyebrows. Experts believe it would require massive upfront investment, not just in production, but in marketing, distribution, and tech. And there's no guarantee the audience would even follow her there. At the same time, word is getting around. Meghan's reputation inside the industry is becoming increasingly fragile. Executives from multiple studios have reportedly started sharing their stories, off the record, of course, and a lot of them aren't pretty. They talk about diva behavior, impossible demands, and emotional outbursts that halt production. One insider even claimed that Meghan once threatened to walk off set mid-filming unless a crew member was removed for making a disrespectful face. Whether that's exaggerated or not, it shows how tightly wound this whole situation has become. Bob Iger over at Disney has taken a cautious approach. He's heard the pitches, listened to the ideas, but so far, he's stayed non-committal. Meghan proposed a travel series, something light and uplifting, showcasing culture and conversation. But sources say the financial terms were way off. She wanted creative control, executive producer credit, and a payout far beyond what Disney typically offers for that type of content. Iger reportedly passed it to the content team with a shrug. No decision has been made, but enthusiasm is clearly lacking. And still, Meghan pushes forward. Public sentiment is shifting fast, and it's not in Meghan Markle's favor. What once felt like curiosity has turned into fatigue. Online conversations are littered with phrases like attention-seeking, overplayed, and exhausting. Even some of her former diehard supporters are starting to speak out, saying they feel let down by someone they once rooted for. People wanted authenticity. What they got instead, according to many, was a non-stop performance. Social media is ruthless, but Hollywood is worse. Word travels quickly in that ecosystem, and Meghan's name now comes with baggage. Behind the scenes, casting directors and production teams are reportedly flagging her as high risk. Not because of talent, but because of everything else that comes with her: camera crews, crisis teams, lawyers, and drama. No one wants a production schedule hijacked by offset controversy or a fragile ego that turns minor disputes into headline material. Even in the podcast space she's now diving into, her entry hasn't exactly been welcomed with open arms. Veteran podcast creators have quietly questioned whether Meghan understands how different the format is from the polished, edited world of film and television. A podcast requires consistency, relatability, and, above all, trust from listeners. If the rumors are true, and her first few episodes are thinly veiled revenge missions against studios, then it's going to be an uphill battle to win any real audience. She still has influence, no doubt, but the more she leans into controlling the narrative, the more distant she feels from regular people. A-list celebrities tend to understand when to pull back, when to disappear for a while, reset, and re-emerge with something new. Meghan, on the other hand, seems stuck in a cycle of overexposure. Every move, every story, every project feels like a reaction, not a plan. Netflix's decision still hangs in the balance, but the longer the board stalls, the clearer it becomes. They're not in a hurry to renew her. Internally, they're weighing the optics of moving forward with someone whose name trends for all the wrong reasons. There are too many shows to greenlight and too many safer bets to place. Meghan's project no longer looks like a smart gamble. It looks like a reputational risk. Meanwhile, Meghan hasn't stopped pitching. A source close to one studio exec revealed that she's been circulating a deck for a new series centered on female resilience and toxic industries, with herself positioned as the lead voice. The concept isn't bad, but the tone reportedly reads more like a personal vendetta than a universal story. When it's all about you, people lose interest. The bigger issue now is long-term viability. She may still grab headlines, but can she sell tickets? Can she drive viewership? Brands care about numbers, not noise, and lately, the numbers haven't been impressive. Her last big media rollout flopped. View counts were underwhelming, podcast teasers barely trended, and even her social media engagement dropped. It's not just the media turning on her, it's the public tuning out. Even Prince Harry seems to be lying low. Sources say he's quietly stepping back from joint ventures and avoiding interviews altogether. Some insiders claim there's been tension between the two about how public-facing their brand has become. Meghan thrives on visibility, but Harry, once the more controversial royal, is now trying to retreat into privacy. It's a bizarre role reversal, and it's raising eyebrows. So now, Meghan stands at a crossroads. The studios are moving on. The audience is drifting away. And the doors once wide open with excitement are slowly closing with silence. Whether she reinvents herself or fades into obscurity is up to her. But one thing's clear, Hollywood isn't waiting. So it finally happened. After months of speculation, insider whispers, and behind-the-scenes chaos, Meghan Markle has officially been banned from working with several major Hollywood studios, and the story behind the fallout is more explosive than anyone could have imagined. What started as a golden opportunity to rebrand herself as a Hollywood power player has now spiraled into a media nightmare, a career nosedive, and what insiders are calling one of the most toxic collapses in recent entertainment memory. According to multiple high-level sources, the final straw came during a heated confrontation between Meghan and senior studio executives from Amazon MGM Studios, a meeting that was supposed to be a last-ditch negotiation to save her now-canceled reality project, but instead turned into an all-out screaming match that ended with legal threats, slammed doors, and an unofficial industry-wide ban. Sources inside the room say Meghan showed up already on edge, flanked by her legal advisors and PR team, clearly prepared for battle. And battle is exactly what unfolded. The moment discussions began, she reportedly interrupted executives, demanded total creative control, and accused the studio of institutionalized sabotage against her brand. One exec tried to steer the conversation back to budget concerns, but Meghan wasn't having it. She allegedly called the network's leadership cowards, claiming they were punishing her for not playing the Hollywood game and instead choosing to stand up for women's voices. But the execs had heard this all before, and they were done. As tensions escalated, one senior VP told Meghan point-blank that her behavior had become untenable, that her constant demands, revisions, and legal interference were burning more bridges than building them. Meghan exploded. According to a staffer who was just outside the boardroom, her voice could be heard through the walls, yelling about how they'll regret this, and accusing the room of systemic bias, misogyny, and anti-royal sentiment. She went full courtroom, the source said, like she was ready to sue the entire industry. But here's the thing, this wasn't an isolated incident. This was just the latest in a long pattern of behind-the-scenes breakdowns that have been piling up since Meghan first stepped into the Hollywood scene post-royal exit. Her earlier fallout with Netflix still haunts industry circles, with execs quietly describing her as unworkable, intensely combative, and obsessed with control to a fault. Her much-hyped docuseries with Love, Meghan was meant to be a game-changer, but instead became a headache, budget overruns, endless reshoots, clashing with Koth OS, and even rumors that she refused to show up on certain days unless specific staff were removed. Internally, Netflix was split. Some supported her as a symbolic figure, others were just exhausted. Now, with Amazon officially done and Netflix